Hey, welcome back to another episode of Cheapskate Garage. And this episode's going to be a little different because we're waiting on a bunch of other stuff for the other car projects. But back behind me here, I got some car audio equipment that I've had for a bunch of years sitting on the shelf. So we're going to show you today how to take those speakers, build a box, convert your car audio into a garage sound system. Stay tuned. So we got a couple 6x9s, an Omega, whatever that says, D-Cell audio sub, Omega, whatever. We got a Jensen 400 watt amp. This is all stuff that I've had sitting up here on my shelf. And we got a couple little tweeters made by, I think, Bose. Oh yeah, Bose. Oh, they even got a QR code. These aren't that old, but they're made in China. I bet this is the same damn speaker that's in that right there. Probably pretty close to it. And that sounds pretty good, but the battery's dying in that, so it's got to stay plugged in 24/7. But is what we're going to do. We're going to go cut the clip here, and we're going to run over to my parents' house because my dad's got the table saw. We're going to draw up, design a box to fit all that, plus the head unit, and plus the major part. Now, the big part that we got to go to, or the big part of this to make this all work, is we gotta get a converter that goes from 120 AC, that's 120 volts of artificial current, your current house power, and reduce that down to 12 volts direct current. But before we do that, we got to do some math. And as you can see right here, power is 400, 2-channel, 400 watts max. So if you go 400 divided by 12, that's going to give you 33.333 foreverness amps. And so we know that, and then we know that our average head unit takes about 7.5 amps. So 33 continuously plus 7.5 amps. Our max power output's going to be right about 40 amps. So that means our converter that we have to buy to go from 120 volts AC, that's alternating current, down to 12 volts direct current, we're going to need right around something that can put out at least 40 amps to get the peak performance out of this. I think I'm going to go and see what I can find online for 50 amps. Have a little bit more. I might later on want to go to the side of this thing and put in like a charging port for phones or something else. That might be kind of cool. I think I will do that. Give myself some extra to work with. Anyway, stay tuned. We're going to go head over to Pops and we're going to build a box. These spots. My daughter's on spring break, so she's going to be tagging along. And hopefully by Tuesday this video will be out. Or Thursday. With a cool painted box. And I think we're going to go retro on the box. We're going to look like it came directly right out of the AutoZone Speed Parts, where they got all those cool stickers and stuff that say "Fear This," you know, the old school stuff. And the like the chromed out flames that, you know, you put those on your car, you get 30 horsepower right there out of them. So we're going to try to deck out the box and make it look like that, but we're going to use two things: paint and tape for it. So I'm going to teach my daughter how to mask off and kind of make some crazy designs with it, because we got all week to do this project. It's spring break. God, I remember spring break when I was a kid in school. But I think it's going to be fun. I got some parts on order. I ordered a head unit because I didn't want to rip the one out of my Mazda, because that one's just too nice for this project. And I didn't want to use the stock Mazda CD player because it doesn't have the outs for the sub. So hopefully in a week now we'll be sitting there banging away in the garage, just having a good old time, annoying the neighbors with my thumper music. My boomabangas, as my wife calls them. But I know we got one neighbor that just drives down the road, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And at 1 a.m., it wakes everybody up. I don't plan to be that guy, but I plan on when it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I got the grill going and I'm smoking some meats up, turn on some music, jam out, relax, chill. Spring is just around the corner. Hell yeah, let's do this. Before we get any farther into this project, I did want to point out that there's one more way that you can supply the power to this. I don't think it's as good of a way to do it, but you could theoretically wire this all up like it was in a car to a battery, a car battery, and then you're going to have to put that battery on a trickle charge, so it's always trickle charging whenever you're not using the system. The only bad thing about that is if you're in a closed space, when car batteries get hot, they can gas off. So if you are going to use a car battery, I would definitely recommend getting a sealed car battery. And that should put out plenty of power. And like I said, I'm not using the top of the line stuff. I'm not cranking out bajillion amps to this system. I just want something that if I want to turn it up, when I want the dial up to 11, it'll give me some sound and I can hear it down the road. But we'll see what happens. This might fail, I don't know. You know, reality is sometimes you do things and they don't work, and that's reality. So we're gonna see what happens with this one. But Pops, he's pretty good with the wood, crafting and building stuff. So I think him and my daughter are gonna have some bonding time, just a little bit. Oh, who am I kidding? I have no idea what this thing's gonna sound like. It might bump, it might thump, it might take a dump. I don't know. The only way to find out is by doing it, building it. Hey guys, we're on day 2 of this build, and we're over here. We got my dad here. This was supposed to be a 3-generational build, but the youngest generation ran off and went somewhere, so I don't know where she went. But we've been playing around with the speakers and figuring out a better design, and I think we came up with a little bit something better. So here we go. 20 inches, right? As you may know, half of making it through life is improvising. I didn't have a compass, so I had to improvise and tape a pencil onto it. Hey, it worked. Check it out. Made a really good hole right there for the sub to fall into. Okay, gotta be honest, my dad actually did it back there. Now, I know before we go any further, technically speaker boxes are built out of what, that MDF board? However, this plywood I had on hand. I had brought it over to my parents' house 4 weeks ago, and Dad says it's just taking up space in my hangar. So here's a good project to use it on. It's something that I had on hand, so we're going to use it. So now you can kind of start to see how it's going to be laid out. We got 2 speakers, a sub. The head unit's going to go probably right up in there, and then maybe a tweeter, the smaller speaker here, and the smaller speaker here. I don't know. I don't even know if I'll run them. We'll see when we get there. Oh, what's that you say? Oh, you can't build it like that. You gotta measure and you gotta have the right dimensions for the boxes for everything to work right. Well, yeah, go online and you can pull up what the dimensions need to be for your equipment that you're working with. But since I'm working with leftovers, junk, I don't really care. And we're just gonna put this together and see where we get it out of. Remember, all this stuff besides the power converter is all stuff, and the head unit is all stuff that I already had. So I popped my holes in it. Now we're going to take the jigsaw, go right around this circle here. So after a little bit of cutting, a little bit of stitching, this is what you get. And the only reason why it looks like this is because my mom had this material and it was for free. I was going to go out and buy some other stuff, but free is always good. So now I'm going to have a classic looking 1980s sound system in my garage. We just got to finish the subwoofer. We just got to finish the installation. Alright guys, day 3. Amazon just delivered my parts, and let me show you what we got. So this is the converter. And you can see what it does. Your input's 120 volts, and your output is 12 volts at 50 amps. And this is how we're gonna, well, let me show you how you wire it in. And then we got our low dollar, cheapo Bose head unit, and that came with the wiring harness. So we're gonna fit this plus that amplifier all into the back of this, and then this will go into the corner. Alright, so I got this all wired up. You can see here, got the green light on. It has its own internal fan to keep it from overheating. So that's going to be just perfect. Now we're going to move on to probably getting power wires. We're going to figure out where to mount this next. And then we got to get the deck facing installed and start wiring up the rest of the amp and the speakers and stuff. We'll see what happens. So I found this trailer plug or patch repair, but it's obviously a five terminal one, and I don't think I'm going to use it for anything. So since it's all kind of neat together, I'm going to use this for my power from my head unit to my transformer. So for those of you that don't know, your big yellow wire, that's your main power wire for your head unit. The black wire is the ground. The red wire is your accessory wire. And the blue wire is your remote wire, or your power antenna wire, which that's going to be used to tell the amplifier to turn on. So we got it all wired up, and the head unit has power. Well, I guess I shouldn't say we got it all wired up. I got the head unit wired up. So far we've done something right. Let's see if we can finish and get some sound out of this next. Well, I got good news. I got a green light on the amp. I think I'm going to have to change that out to like a 35 or 50 amp fuse. I don't know. But I have a feeling that fuse is going to blow. But I got a green light. That means my amp probably wasn't damaged when I was rear-ended at 55 miles an hour. Drink a little drink, smoke a little smoke. Drink a little drink, smoke a little smoke. This little speaker kicks ass, and I built it. Drink, smoke a little smoke.